We are live. Hopefully, this is my weekly Q&A, your chance to ask me your money questions. Any of the things that you have queries about, hopefully I can help you. I'd love to let you say hello to me as well, just sort of in the comments, whether you are on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Instagram. Do just comment, say hello. And like to give you a question as well, sort of share something with me. So I thought this week, because at the end of the last show, someone said, I had a question about credit scores, that maybe we can talk a bit more about credit scores today if you've got those questions. So why don't you tell me what your credit score is? Not the number, but is it rated as excellent, good, average, or poor? And obviously you might have different ones based on different credit reference agencies, but that might help us have a conversation about credit scores today. So just say hello and what your rating is. You're welcome to share more information about that as well. Hello, we've got Francis on YouTube. Lovely to have you there. And we've got Captain Fantastic, Cheryl, CU, Clarky, P, and Keith on Instagram, all joining in so far. Nice to have you all. As I always say with these things, this is your time to ask me what you want, but I can prattle on about all sorts of things. So, for example, this week on the blog and the podcast and on the newsletter, I've covered what difference is between a credit score and credit report, so we can talk more about that. I've talked about something called a money transfer credit card, which is something which not so many people know about, but could be a really, really, really good way to help you if you have an overdraft debt or a catalogue debt. So they're great ones to talk about those. I've also talked about American Express's Shop Small promotion. That's coming back on the podcast. I can always never remember what I spoke about on the podcast, even though I did it just a few days ago. What was it this week? Oh, right. More than one current account, because we had it last weekend. Santander had loads and loads of problems. If you had an account with them, online banking was down, app banking was down, cards weren't even watching, phone banking wasn't working, all those things. So I spoke about why you had more than one current account. So loads of different things that we can talk about if you wish. Frances has said that on ClearScore, she has an excellent credit rating. But Experian, it's fair. And that's really interesting in itself, isn't it? So the fact that you think, right, I've got this credit score, this credit rating, I'm doing really well because one says excellent. If another one says fair, well, that can have all sorts of implications down the road. It could well be that the people you're applying for, the credit card, the loan, whatever it might be, they look at the rating where you have classed as fair rather than the one where you're classed as excellent. And if there's a reason why they have that different approach to your credit report, your credit score, it could be just different information. They don't always have the same information on each report. It could be there's an error with one of them, but it doesn't make a difference. If they're looking at the one that says fair and the other criteria that they add into, again, the article and the video I did on this, more information about that. If they have that kind of information combined with the extra stuff they've got, they might reject you. So it's really important to have a look at those, all your different reports, and check they are all correct. So that's a really good one. So thank you, Francis, for sharing that. Again, for those of you just joining in now, my question for you this week is, what is your credit rating? Excellent, good, poor, or average? And again, you might have more than one of these because there are 3 different credit reference agencies. We've got a few more people joining in. We've got WHU, we've got Clarky says hello. We've got Marco, we've got Steve, we've got Andrew, we've got the Weekend Bakery, we've got Mr. Terry B, we've got Mr. Andy Gary, we've got S3, we've got Angela, we've got Referral World, we've got Deals. Over on YouTube, we've got IJ, we've got Max, we've got Motivation, Mel. So we've got a few questions have come through. Let's have a look. Where should we go before? So Keith has asked, what is the best credit card to get money back, like a loan? Okay, right. This is perfect. You might not have been there at the top when I said, one of the articles I wrote about this week was this money transfer credit card. Now, there aren't many of these out there. Off the top of my head, I think it's MBNA, Virgin Money, and there's another one. There might be a few others out there. In terms of which one's the best one, as I always say, the best one is the one you're most likely to get, based on an eligibility checker, either directly with a credit card company or via a comparison site, which one scores the best. You might find if they're pretty even, then the one that gives you maybe the most amount of time at 0% could be the best one, and things like that. But generally, broadly, this is what a money transfer credit card does. And I think it's really good, again, for if you need to get some money. Ideally, I think that's to pay off another debt, but you could use it, like Keith is saying here, as a cheap loan. Now, whether this is cheaper than actual loans that are out there, because rates can be quite low right now, you want to do that comparison. But the way it works is you apply for the card, haven't done the eligibility checker, so you know your chance of getting it. Hopefully you're accepted. You get the card, and then there is money on that card, whatever the credit limit they have on there, that's how much you could do it. You can transfer that to your current account. Now, I know normally with a balance transfer credit card, if you're familiar with these, it's similar to that, but balance transfer credit cards, you transfer the balance that you've got, which you owe money on, to the new card, and then that's suddenly at 0%. With this one, you transfer the money into your bank account, and then suddenly so let's say it was £1,000. You transfer £1,000 into your current account. That means there was £1,000 sitting on this new credit card at 0% for however long that 0% period is. Could be a year, could be 18 months, could be 2 years. Again, it all depends. So long as you make the minimum repayments every month on that card, ideally you want to pay more than that. You want to sort of even it out so you clear it all before that 0% period ends. You don't get charged any interest, okay? So that can be very cheap. However, there will be a transfer fee, and for the money transfer cards, they tend to be between 3 and 4%. So again, that's something you really do need to bear in mind. So if it's £1,000 again, well, that could be 30 quid if it was a 3% fee. Once it's in your current account, you can do what you like with it. So you could use that to buy something for spending and things. But personally, I think they are particularly fantastic for clearing an overdraft. Overdrafts are so expensive right now. You're looking at 40% with most banks. Really, really, really expensive. So you've got time to wipe that out and then make sure you don't get back into the overdraft, but pay off that debt elsewhere. Or catalogue debts, again, they can be 0% to start off, but when I did Shop Smart Save Money for Channel 5, one of the families I met, she had no idea that 0% period had ended, and she was paying, again, I think like 35%, maybe even 40% on this close, and the interest rates were astronomical. So we got the money transfer deal for her. She actually was pre-approved, so she knew she was getting it before she applied. Moved that money, cleared that debt, and it really, really, really helped. So that's how that one. I hope that will help you out there. IJ says on YouTube, great work, matey. Any app to help me manage my 27 accounts altogether? 27. Okay, that sounds like a record. I know last week I asked everyone to share how many accounts they got, and no one was getting close to my 14 or 15. 27. That is a cracking amount of accounts there. And obviously, the more accounts you have, this is, I presume, current accounts, but that could be a mix of credit card accounts as well in there. The more accounts you have, obviously, the harder it can be to manage it. I would recommend looking at some kind of aggregator dashboard apps. Now, these are ones that I keep saying this, I need to get some reviews done both for the blog and for YouTube to help you find out which ones are best. But having played around with a few of them over the years, Yolt, Money Dashboard, and Snoop all have benefits to them. So you could always download them all, give them all a go, and then see which one you like to carry on with. But essentially, you get all those accounts listed in a single dashboard. So you can quickly see where the money is, if there's any problems that you have to go, oh God, I need to put a bit more money in that account to top it up because I've got that direct debit coming out and all that. So you don't have to go necessarily into each individual app. So I would definitely check those ones out. Some of them have features, off the top of my head, if I'm correct on this, that you might even be able to move money within the app. So you don't even have to go into the other individual banking apps to transfer money through, which is a lovely feature. But I need to get myself back up to speed on that. So I hope that one helps. Let me just quickly check a few more things that have come through here. We've got Vilesh has joined. Thank you so much. Referral World has said credit report is excellent. Angela says excellent. Actually, Referral World says just got a credit card and never used it. So the credit keeps getting better. This is a really interesting thing. If you want to talk about that later on, should you have a credit card just for purposes of helping your credit score? And we can talk about that in a bit if you want. Hi to Rosali. Mr. Terry B says he's got excellent 999 on Experian, stable 440 on ClearScore, and he's done the kind of the emoji which does, that's the shrug. Yeah, another really good example here. Like we talked about at the beginning with France, this is two different ones. Really important. It shows how important it is to look at the different credit reports because they could be different. And if they're different, that might not be a problem. Like I said, there might just be different information that is on those different reports, but there could be a problem with one of them. So have a look, see if you can find out what's going on there. There could also be, and we mentioned this I think last week in the Q&A, to do with timing as well. Now, a lot of the ways that we access our credit reports, and I've got a whole article and a video on my YouTube channel where I take you through the 3 ways you can check your 3 different credit reports. You don't have to pay for this, but they don't necessarily report instantaneously. They can be on a monthly cycle. So it might be that you're getting one which is up to 30 days difference to the other one because certain information hasn't reported through. So one of them might already be up to date because you've applied for something, and the other one hasn't got that data in. So again, it could be something worth bearing that in mind as well. So let's go quickly pop back to the questions over here on YouTube. Max has asked, how do you get a credit card if you are a new resident in the UK and have been here less than 2 years? Most credit card websites and Money Supermarket only have options for 2 years or more. Right, so again, this is an interesting one. I'm not sure the answer to that. I'm sure there will be some out there which help you with essentially a short credit history here in the UK. They will have limitations, absolutely. I would have a look at, you've done Money Supermarket. If anyone's got any thoughts on this, please do comment. If anyone else can help out, let me know. It's a tough one to say that. I don't know the whole market to say which ones might be good for this or not good for this. Again, as I said, the credit eligibility checks that you can do should hopefully bring up if any of them are viable. If you find there's nothing there, then obviously there are some other things you can do to try and boost your credit rating, your credit report, actually boost the content that's in there, which will help you longer term. But I know that's not going to help you short term if you need a card right now. Francis has come back talking about the context on why the 2 different credit ratings that she's got. And it says you recently applied for 2 credit accounts, Amex and Virgin Money. So that changed the Experian to fair. It was good before the applications. Credit Karma, fair, clear score, excellent. So I think that could well be the recent applications haven't come through in all of them yet. So obviously when you do apply for something, this is not a bad thing, right? You shouldn't be worried about your credit score dipping when you're by applying for things, because it will recover, it will come back up as long as you're not rejected for loads of things, which actually can keep it down for longer. The times you want to be really careful about this, obviously, if you need to get something. So a mortgage, for example, the general rule of thumb is don't apply for anything 6 months before that mortgage is coming through, because you want to have a nice clean credit history if you can. If you need a balance transfer credit card sooner rather than later, again, be careful about other credit applications you go for. And this isn't just new bank accounts, new credit cards. It could be changing your energy provider, changing your mobile phone provider. So again, think about those kinds of things. IJ said his credit ratings are all excellent. Bradley says, I've gone from excellent to good, then to fair, then back up to good within a month on Experian. Maybe because I attempted to open an account with Santander and it was declined twice. Yes, absolutely. I think so. And that's interesting about you were declined with Santander. I don't know if it was a credit card or for the current account. If it was the current account, you might want to have a sort of just double check what information is on there, why they would reject you. Credit cards, though, it can be, you could have an excellent score and be rejected for a credit card. What I would say, though, is if you were declined twice, now going back to what I said before, the trick here is do the eligibility checker first of all. And if you are declined for the same product, don't then apply for it again, because that is going to hurt your score, because they've already got a rejection, or a credit check, I should say, appearing on the credit report. They won't necessarily know that it is a rejection. And that's going to mean the next time you're even less likely to get it from that provider. Doesn't mean you won't get it from somewhere else, hence the eligibility checkers. Let's have a look what we've got here. Andrew has asked, is the Amex cashback credit card still worth it despite the rate cuts? I have the NatWest Reward credit card that gives me 1% in supermarkets and 0.25% elsewhere. Should I have an Amex as well? And also, I hope you win the award for Cash Chats. They are fab episodes. Well, thank you, Andrew. That's really kind of you. I've been shortlisted for a Financial Broadcaster of the Year for my Cash Chats podcast at the Headline Money Awards. So I found this out yesterday, and really, really excited about it, because there's me, one-man band individual who does this thing just themselves, and the other people on the shortlist are all 3 of them are the BBC journalists, and one of them is Financial Times editor, who are all fantastic, do amazing jobs, but obviously it's a very different proposition to little old me. So I'm really excited about that. But I don't think I'll win, but it's really nice to be in contention. So yes, I'm American Express credit cards. I am going to do more detail on this in time. This is where the Platinum Cashback credit cards, there's 2 of them, basically how much you can earn has dropped by around £25 a year. This is not yet, in a couple of months' time, that's going to come into play. They're still very good cashback credit cards. They're still better than what you'll get in most other places. The question will be, will American Express also change other cards in the coming months? Because there are a couple which I feel are probably stronger now than the Platinum cards. The Gold Rewards card, if you're happy to swap things into Nectar points, that can be worth more and has a particularly strong welcome bonus. The Nectar card itself, which just pays Nectar points, that is worth a lot as well. So they are currently probably better, but there are all sorts of pros and cons. So at the moment, I'll say if you desperately need a cashback credit card right now, and the Platinum one is the best one for you right now, and you are eligible for it, and you are going to be able to pay it off in full every single month, then absolutely I would go for it. Do you know what? If it changes in 3 or 4 months' time, that other options are significantly better and your credit report is still strong enough, you can always apply for another card. There's no reason why you can't do that. I would say make sure you go either get a referral link from a friend, or you're probably better off, the biggest payout is to go via a cashback site like Quidco or Top Cashback for the bulk of the American Express reward and cashback credit cards, because you'll get an extra 10 to 30 quid back on top of that, and that will cover the fee on some of the cards like the Nectar and the Amex Platinum card. Hello to Rochelle and to Rafa and to Jane. We have got Keith asking, just the back of his question about loans from credit cards. What about using a money transfer card and invest the money at a higher interest rate in peer-to-peer or stock market? Right, okay, this is really interesting. This is the sense that you get cheap borrowing from however you would get that, whether it's from a credit card, money transfer, or potentially from a normal loan, or even borrowing on your mortgage or things like that, and investing it somewhere where you think you're going to get more money. Now, if it worked and you got more money from those other forms of lending, then your quid's in. But there's no guarantee you will. There is always the risk that you will lose money doing this. So this is something which getting into debt to make more money is not something I would do. But that's your own individual choice. My warnings out there, but because you've got no guarantee that you'll get those returns elsewhere. And if for some reason you lost a lot of money in those investments, both of them, excuse me, can be quite risky. You've still got to pay off this card, this loan, whatever it might be. Or if you needed access to cash suddenly and it's all tied up in places, you might be sort of stuck. But there was an interesting episode of the Financial Times podcast this week on this very subject. So it's called The Money Clinic. Do check that one out. Mr. Andy Gary says, Emma is another good one. This is, again, one of those sites where you can check all your different accounts in one place. Yeah, Emma is another good one. Hi to Ms. Kelly. So where should we go? Lots of questions, which is fantastic. I just got to keep on top of them. Make sure I'm okay here. Where are we? So Sebastian says, is it possible to find out which financial institutions use which credit agencies? I don't think so. I think you might find some forums online where people have said, this people use this one use this one, but generally it's not something that's easy necessarily to pinpoint. And again, sometimes they might check just one, they might check two, they might check all three. You just don't know for sure when you make the application. And remember, the really, really important thing here is they'll also have the information on the application form, and they'll also have potentially any sort of customer data they've got on you from previous banking experiences or lending experience you've had with them. So there's a much bigger picture that comes into it. Esther has come back on that question when someone asked about getting a credit card within 2 years, and said you can apply for a credit card after 6 months of living here, and you can just say you've lived here for the full required period. Alex has said, I'd treat it like an 18-year-old. Go to your bank since you've been in the UK and have more information on you. So that's a really good shout, actually. So this is where, although we don't do it very often now, again, having that relationship with an actual bank might pay dividends. So yes, absolutely. If you've got a current account, and assuming you have, and they do know you and have proof of who you are and things like that, and can see your accounts, they might be more willing to lend you, because again, it's not just that credit report, it's the wider information as well. Deals has asked, is it worth getting Barclays for the £3 profit? Thinking of getting it in place of the co-op account, which is dropping its cashback account from July. So this is the Barclays Blue Rewards benefit, which if you have a Barclays current account, you can add to your account. There is a £4 fee every single month, but as long as you have 2 direct debits coming out every month, they'll give you a total of £7 in return, which means you'll make £3 profit, £36 a year. If you have a Barclays account already, it's well worth getting that, as long as you have some direct debits coming out of it. In terms of opening up an account just for 36 quid a year, it's up to you. It doesn't take much effort. Sometimes, and they haven't done this for a year, but the pandemic could be a good reason for this, they do a double boost for switching in. And when I actually got my Barclays account a couple of years ago now, that's what I took advantage of. So it was worth more to me. And in fact, you got a larger reward as well every single month. So I was getting, I don't know, I think it was worth 80 to 100 quid in the year. So that was certainly worth it. I would say I did a whole article and video on this. So check out Andy Clever Cash on YouTube or Be Clever with Your Cash on the blog. And you'll see I've got a recent list of all the different reward accounts. You might find there is a better one for you if you don't already have it to replace the co-op account, such as Santander 123 Lite to get cash back on your bills, Halifax Rewards to get £5 a month, even Club Lloyd's to get free cinema tickets, which are reopening. So again, that might be a nicer addition than just the £3 from Barclays. Hello to Momaz and Shane and Suzanne and Barry and Guto. Let's go over to the YouTube and Facebook questions again. Max said, thanks for answering my question. So without having a credit card, how do I boost my credit for the long term then? Okay, so I'm going to do a more on this soon as well, because I know there's a lot of interest in this. Certain things you can do to improve your credit score. One of the most important ones generally for people is to make sure you make your payments on time every single month, whatever that might be that is on your credit report. So if you've already got credit cards, if you've got a mobile phone bill, all those kind of things, pay them on time. And that demonstrates you are regularly making payments and you are responsible with credit. Appreciate if you don't have any of the credit things already, that can be a bit difficult and a bit annoying to say and do that when you don't have the credit score, the credit report in order to get those things. Feels like a bit chicken and egg, doesn't it? But there are other things you can do. You can register on the electoral roll. Again, not sure how that works on people who aren't UK nationals, but if you can register to vote, that's really important. It verifies your address. You can voluntarily, sometimes if you're renting, ask your landlord if they're part of one of the different schemes which will report your renting to a credit reference agency. So again, they have to voluntarily be part of the scheme, but hopefully if they're a decent landlord, they'll do this. And again, demonstrating that you are doing this month after month after month. There are certain things which are easier to get than credit cards as well. So again, if you aren't, your energy bills, for example, they are a credit checked on that for the direct debit, but hopefully you can get that as long as you're not on a prepayment meter, paying it by direct debit. Again, it's something there to demonstrate you are doing this. Experian has something else called Boost, which is free, and it says it's going to add things to your score to help you kind of, again, more on there, but there's no evidence necessarily that the lenders will take that into account. So it's worth having a look at that as well. And I will do more on this. If you've got any more tips, guys, just share them below. Always keen to see this. Mr. Terry B says, how do I remove old connections or really old addresses from my credit report? Thanks. So if there are things in there which are incorrect, get in touch with either the provider. So let's say you've got an account on there still in your name, but you haven't changed the address. Look, it's really easy to do, particularly if you move a lot or something you don't use anymore and you forgot to kind of update it. Get in touch with the provider. They will update the address and that will come through absolutely fine. If there is something on there which is no longer active and has an old address, then you can obviously appeal, get in touch with the credit reference agency and ask them to remove that, because if something's not active, it should have sort of gone after a certain amount of time. And if you have a connection to someone who you are no longer connected to, so you had a joint account perhaps or a joint mortgage with someone, normally that's going to be a partner, but it could be a friend of yours, a housemate or whatever, you're no longer linked to them, then again, you can put in to the credit reference agency to have that link sort of broken. So all that information should be on Experian, Equifax and TransUnion's own websites of exactly how to appeal that information. Hello to Craigie and to Leo who have joined in. What else we've got here? Bradley has said, right, so Bradley's the person who got rejected for an account twice. It's the student current account. So that's an interesting one there. I would just absolutely go back. Obviously, student accounts, you're younger, so there's not much information in your credit file. But a student account, these are designed for people who don't have a credit history. You've got what's called a thin credit report. So it could suggest there's something wrong on there, something on there that's flagging to Santander that this isn't right. So I would go into your report and just double check your reports against all three agencies just to make sure there's nothing that goes, that's why they might have rejected me. IJ has asked, can we vote for me in this award? Afraid not. It's judged by people in the industry, personal finance journalists. So, but thank you very much. Very kind of you. Stephen says, good luck with the cash chats. I'm getting my finances in order and a lot of the credit goes to you. Cheers. Oh, thank you. This is why I do this. This is why I do all the stuff I do in these live chats, is to help all of you. So I'm not going to be able to help on everything. I'm not going to be able to give always personal advice and everything, but hopefully there's broad information I give you. Bit by bit, you're going to sort of either, if you're starting off from scratch or in a bad position, get yourself somewhere a little bit stronger, or if you're already kind of feel you're pretty savvy and you're doing quite well, those little extra tips and tricks kind of push you a little bit further. And if you're like me, enjoy doing those things as well. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. If you haven't already and you want to share with me and everyone else watching what your credit rating is it good? Is it excellent? Is it poor? Is it fair? Really nice way for us just to kind of get a sense of how things can be quite different amongst everyone watching. Jim has said, my fixed rate cash is with Santander. It matures next week. It pays a fabulous 1.9%, which sounds ridiculous, but that's actually pretty good, isn't it? Unfortunately, it won't be any more. Any thoughts about the best savings account, or should I wait to see what happens to the interest rates over the next few months? And I think we had a question earlier on, sorry if I missed it, about what is the best savings account right now. I'm sure there was a question on that. Sorry if I didn't give you a shout out for that one. So you would have possibly noticed that a few accounts have started to slowly creep up a few of the interest rates, easy access accounts, 1 year fixes, things like that. We're not talking about a huge amount, but starting to go back to where they were maybe a couple of months ago. So the best easy access accounts now 0.5%, where it was 0.4% just a week ago, really. Still not great, still not amazing, particularly when you consider that the inflation rate was announced today. It's gone up to 1.5%, doubled where it was before. So very, very few savings accounts are beating that. What I would say is around locking your money away, it's about your appetite for risk and how much money you think you're going to get it. With interest rates so low, the amount of money that you'll lose isn't going to be necessarily groundbreaking unless you're putting tons and tons of cash away. And I personally wouldn't do that, but again, it really is up to you. I have got obviously the article on the blog with the best different savings accounts on there, from all different things, from regular savers where you can put a small amount in but get a higher rate, through to the current accounts where you can put maybe $1,000 in and get a slightly better rate than the others, and then gradually down. The Chip Plus One account that I know we've spoken about a lot here on the channel and in the lives, that one will give you 1.25% on up to 10k, although you have to factor in a fee and things like that. That might be a good shout. It's easy access, so you can take your money out, that if rates do suddenly jump up, you can move it to a better account. But if you do lock that money away and rates do rise up in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, who knows, then you're going to get a penalty to take that money out. We have got Amit and QCan on there. Hello guys, nice to see you. Let's jump back, and lots of questions on here. Alvar has said a couple of things. You can register if you're a non-national to vote, so fantastic. Make sure you are registered to vote. That will give your credit report some much needed stability and prove your ID, so make sure you do that. And has also asked, what would you consider the best non-Amex credit card in terms of points and cashback? So a few different options here. You have got the best kind of all-rounder is the Barclays card reward card. This pays 0.25% for every pound you spend, and it's in cashback. So it will come to your account, so you can spend it pretty much in essence on anything you want. You aren't restricted to different retailers. And you also it's fee-free to use overseas. Not that we're likely to be going abroad in any time soon, but it's not a bad one to have in that sense. However, you could look if there are specific retailers you regularly shop at. So for example, my local supermarket is a Waitrose. I like Waitrose. I know people say it's expensive. Promise you, it doesn't have to be. And I think the ethical quality of stuff is much, much higher. But the John Lewis and Partners credit card that will give me 1.25% at Waitrose. 0.25% everywhere else, but 1.25% at Waitrose. So I'm quids in on most of my shopping. Similarly, Sainsbury's, M&S, Amazon, they all have cards do something like that. So again, more information, all of these over on the blog. Francis, funnily enough, my clear score registered my recent applications and increased by 2 points. They just seem to like you. Okay. David has said, on Monday, I opened a travel card account with Currency. It seems okay. What are your views, please? So I did a video and article about the best travel cards just last week or the week before. So please do check that out because we're running out of time now. So I want to try and race through things rather than go into lots of detail. But Currency is a bit like Curve, which I've spoken about a lot before, where you connect your normal current account, debit cards and credit cards to it. And you can choose which one that you pay with. And when you spend overseas, it takes the money from that underlying account that you've got connected. And it adds a 0.5 surcharge to the interbank rate or the MasterCard rate. So basically the fee-free rate for money exchanges between currencies. Now that is a lot better than you get with your normal NatWest account or your normal Lloyd's account or whoever it might be. Okay, so you're saving money that way. However, you can get accounts which don't charge you anything, such as Starling Bank. So it's up to you. It depends whether you don't want the hassle of a new current account, which you have to transfer money into, which won't charge you anything like that, or the Barclays card reward credit card I mentioned just now, or whether you like the idea of having something like Currency or Curve. I think they're good as backups. But again, more information about all of those on the blog. Let's say, what else have we got? Wakas Hussein has said, how do you check if a current account is closed? I closed one 2 months ago and it still shows up on my credit report. So this could be a longevity thing, so a bit of time for things to update. You might have old accounts will be on there as well. I'm not quite sure exactly how long things do stay on there for, but it will be shown when people do those lending checks. They'll be able to know what is active and what is not active as well. And that's particularly relevant when it comes to credit cards because of the credit limit, how much money you can apply for. Wakan said you've got an excellent credit rating. Well done. Alex has said, just an FYI, John Lewis are going to stop selling loans from next month. And Esther says, my experience is excellent. Yay. Thanks, Andy. Right. Hopefully I've covered everyone there. Sorry if I have missed you. It is sometimes with so many questions coming through, it's not always easy to see everything that comes through to catch them all at once. You can obviously get in touch with me on any of the kind of, so many ways, aren't there? You can email me, you can message me on Instagram or on Twitter, you can comment on the Facebook in the community as well, you can comment on a YouTube video, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I will get back to you. There's so many questions coming in every week, so I'm trying to sort of spend some time on a Thursday going through all of these rather than doing it ad hoc and maybe missing them. God, what else to say? Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. If you missed the beginning, you'll be able to watch this in full soon after we close up here, so you can start from scratch on there. Also, quick heads up, tomorrow's episode of the Cash Chats podcast, Your Money This Week, my regular Friday rundown of the top money headlines, the money news. I'm joined this week by fellow money blogger Dee Gardner. That will be live from 7 a.m. on all the podcasting apps and on YouTube as well. The videos will be live at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So you can check that out first thing if you want, or catch up with it over the weekend. I guess that's it. Until next time, guys, have a lovely weekend. I don't know about you, raining here more and more. I think it's going to carry on over the weekend, but maybe in a week's time for the bank holiday, the sun will be shining. All right, guys, thanks so much.